Hi, my name is James Hawken and I'm a piano player. Today I would like to talk about my new release, which is called Kres, a piece for meditation. Um, why Kres? Okay, well, uh, the Kres is a word in my mother tongue, which is Cornish. Cornish being an indigenous language of the British Isles. And I'm a fluent speaker, and Kres means peace, Peace. And I thought it was appropriate for this particular piece. If we talk about the origins of me doing this particular track, if we have a look at, it's a bit of a convoluted way of getting around it, but it might be interesting, I don't know. Look at Cornwall. Cornwall, fantastic place, love it. As there are plenty of other places in the world which are equally fantastic. But Cornwall has a lot of natural resources. We have a lot of natural deposits of things that humans want. The taking of these things has been going on for thousands of years, predominantly tin and copper. In the sort of more recent times, China clay has been a big one that has been extracted from the land. Tin and copper goes back thousands of years. I say that because we talk about the Bronze Age, for instance. And what's bronze? Well, bronze is an alloy of copper and tin. So you can see how the importance of those two metals are for that particular time period. And it's thought that the Phoenicians even came over to Cornwall in order to extract those metals. China clay, obviously in recent years, sort of big in the 70s. You say, well, what's China clay used for? Okay, so China clay is used for paper. So you've got your nice, pristine, smooth piece of white paper that we don't use very much these days, obviously, because we're now into more of the computer age. That whiteness, that smoothness of a piece of paper, a glossy piece of paper, is because of China clay. 80% of China clay production in Cornwall went to Germany to facilitate paper making. Where else might you see? You might see it in paints, China clay in paints, medicines in tablets, your medicines that you take China clay, plastics, China clay, anything that you handle that needs to be smooth is quite likely to contain China clay. So let's talk about copper and tin. Okay, so 1850s to the later part of that century, loads of mines in Cornwall. And towards the end of that century, mines, as we say, went scat. So they weren't profitable for the profiteers and shareholders, so the mines closed. And a lot of mining families went to Australia, where mining was now beginning again, and a lot of the expertise and all the engineering and everything else was taken from the Cornish mines and sort of transported over to the knowledge and everything transported to South Australia, basically, and places like Moonta. So why do I mention Australia? Okay, so I am getting around to it. So people from Cornwall has been going, the diaspora has been going all over the world for centuries and centuries. Even to my generation, a lot of my contemporaries moved out of Cornwall for jobs, for education, for whatever. And a couple of people who were very close friends of mine, who I grew up with, did go to Australia, and they made fantastic lives for themselves. I'd love to go over there and visit them and see it, but that's another story anyway. So one of those is a lady called Sarah Barron. Now, Sarah is a very talented artist and designer. She's around. I've got an internet presence, and she's known as Girl Quirky. Okay, and she has a successful art design business in Australia. And part of what she does is think a lot about the mind and how it works and how human minds work. And meditation is a big thing. And she asked me to produce a piece for meditation, about 5 minutes long, sort of like a breathing meditation sort of thing. I said, yeah, great, I'll have a go at it. Yeah. So I don't know anything about meditation or the music that's good for meditation. I know certain frequencies can react with your brain and whatever. I know you can feel certain things with different frequencies and all this. And there's this white noise thing, or this music for sleeping, for dreaming, all that uses different tones, timbres and frequencies of sounds, which I know nothing about, although fascinated about, and I'd love to do a lot more research about it. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, sound itself is a physical thing. I mean, it's physical movement, basically. To break it down in basic terms, is atoms banging into each other. And when one atom bangs into another one, that atom passes on quite a lot of its energy, loses a little bit, and that atom that it bangs into another one, loses a bit of its energy. And so it goes on this chain reaction until all the energy dissipates. So it is movement of atoms, and when these atoms come across an object, which is also made of atoms, there must be some sort of interaction. Obviously, an object which is very, very dense, where the atoms are so combined so closely that the moving atoms can't penetrate that in any way, the moving atoms will bounce off. And then when it comes back to the ear or to whoever's making that sound, obviously that's an echo. But some objects will absorb the vibration or the movement of atoms and create their own vibration, which the rate of their vibration, the frequency, may alter its state. I mean, I don't know. And body cells are just a collection of atoms. And obviously, if a sound hits body cells, it physically can have some effect. What that effect is and how that effect can benefit body cells is a really interesting subject, and something again that I really love to get into. So there's a physical element. There's also an element of sound that happens, something happens to you in the brain. So your brain perceives sound, obviously from your ears, and neurons fire. So you've got now these electrical impulses in your brain firing, and these electrical impulses may give you a memory of something. You may be somewhere where you first heard that sound or that piece of music, whatever. And along with the memory or along with the sound, also that then can alter your brain chemistry to give you feelings associated either with that memory or associated with a particular sound, even without a memory. So there's some brain chemistry going on as well. So it's not just the physical atoms banging into each other. It is actually it provokes brain chemistry to initiate feelings within us. So that's the sort of approach. I chose that approach really because I don't know about these frequencies and body reactions. So I sort of approached it with what sounds make us feel good. And I came up with the human voice. Because when we're born, the first thing that we hear is probably a human voice, and probably your mother's voice. And throughout your life, your mother's voice is something that you've connected with immediately when you were so young, that you can associate it with all sorts of things. Usually, obviously, depending on your circumstances, hearing your mother's voice can be a good thing. And obviously your father's voice and your family's voices. You may hear singing when you're young. To me, voices resonate so much. I loved and still do love choirs, especially a cappella choirs. I suppose I don't know, there's something primeval about the human voice and about organising the human voice into ways which give pleasurable experiences. And that's basically what music is. It's an organisation of sound. Even atonal music, you could say atonal music is sort of can be randomised. But even randomisation is an organisation because you're organising the sound to be randomised. So it's still being organised. That's it in my point of view anyway. So that's what I did. I chose, I knew I wanted some human element, a human voice element within this meditation piece. And there's a guy called Christian Henson who does the Spitfire stuff, the orchestra stuff, who has a project called Piano Book. And he did, within that project, did a project called Winter Voices, where he sampled, I think it's over 400 different voices, and amalgamated these voices into particular sounds. I mean, there's all sorts of variations of sounds. And I particularly like one which gave a more of a human sound and sort of made that sound my own by slight manipulation. But predominantly it is human voices. So I knew I wanted the backdrop of a piece to be that. And over it, I didn't want it to be very complicated. So there's a very, very simple melody line, a sort of very simple motif, with a few sort of chord changes that I sort of tried to time with very relaxed breathing. I'm not sure if I got that right or not really, but what I wanted was an overall sound of calmness, of some sort of familiarity. I mean, the motif repeats, so you sort of know what's coming next and you can almost switch off from it. And you don't have to concentrate at all on this. You can just switch off and let the sound sort of, I don't know, generate some sort of feeling within yourself, which is what I'm hoping will do. And it's a calm feeling, a sort of a peaceful feeling. Maybe something that you can become reflective. Maybe some of you just want to switch off. Maybe some of you just pop on at the end of the day just to unwind. However you want to use it, it would be fantastic if it can be used in that way. I really do hope it does the job. It does for me, and I hope it does for you. So that's basically the piece. It'd be great if you could have a listen to it on whatever streaming platform you like, or on my website on YouTube. And I will tag Girl Quirky. Do check her out and some of the designs and everything. I mean, she's fantastic. I hope you enjoy the piece. Thanks very much.